What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here of the BlockHash podcast. Today, I'm joined by Murphy, head of ecosystem development and growth at StorX, to learn how they are shifting the paradigm in data storage. Murphy, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here.
Likewise, pleasure's all mine. To get things underway, I'm sure people would love to learn a little bit more about yourself. Can you tell us a bit about your backstory and maybe how you got into the Web3 and blockchain space and what your journey's been like?
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Murphy John, and I work as growth of ecosystem at StorX Network. My background is I've been in the field of internet infrastructure for quite one decade. I was lucky enough to see the growth of cloud being formed as it is today. And in my previous version, I was working with companies to set up the internet infrastructure. We were managing the infrastructure. We were seeing to it that all the securities were taken care of, and that's how I got interested in this whole field of infrastructure, cloud setup management, and all. And by 2017, that's when the blockchain space was really picking up. We were finding that there was really very good use case that people were taking up, and it was really a great time for people to adopt the blockchain, the crypto first, and that's where I got interested, and I started looking out of projects that really mean something, that can really add a lot of value to people and their lives. And that's when I got in touch with XDZ. I was reading them. I saw that this project was really having a very good potential. I started looking at them. I started following the developments, and that's when I got to know Mr. Handy Barrow. That's the founder of StorX, and he was having a very good vision, a vision that is like giving power back to the users. He didn't want that the user should always be worried about the data being snooped, being censored. That was typically how the centralized cloud was working. And then when he shared his vision, I was really deeply interested in what it was, and I wanted to work with him. And that's how I joined StorX. And here I am now. We started working with him at 2021, and we've been since involved with the project, and I've been taking care of growth. I've been talking to the partners. I've been talking to onboarding partners and letting them use the whole ecosystem and drive the growth at StorX Network.
That's awesome, man. What can you tell us a bit about StorX in terms of what the direction and core mission is for you guys and what you guys are trying to accomplish?
At StorX, our core mission is giving back the power to the data, of power back to the users. Basically, the data, whenever it's stored in the cloud, as a traditional medium, the service provider controls the entire chain, and it's basically he is the one who has all the rights of the users. So we found that this was not something right. Whenever your user is storing something on the internet or the cloud, per se, he should have complete control. He should have the access to it, and he should be the only one who should authorize any access or review of the data. As you see, there was a lot of abuse happening to the user rights. People were misused. The data which was stored in the cloud was misused by service providers. There were many hacks. There were many abuses to the data, and that was growing phenomenally. And that's when we started that this is a time, right, that we should give a system where the users should not be worried about whenever he's storing the data. So StorX basically is a decentralized cloud network. It's powered by a community of storage node operators who come in together, chip in the storage pool, and storage takes care of ensuring that the data is very secure, and then we give back and sell this data to the user. This whole solution to the users, ensuring that the whole system is very secure. How we do is with the unique architecture of encryption, encryption, fragmentation, and global distribution. So whenever you're using StorX to store your data, what we do exactly is we put the data, we lock the data on users' devices itself, where it gets locked with users' encryption key, and the key is newly known to the users. And then the encryption data is transferred to our platform, where it's broken down into small fragments. Then we make replicate copies of this fragment, and then we distribute it to the node operators, which is spread worldwide. So what happens is, evidently, because of this unique architecture, your data is really very secure. Nobody can ever access your data, and you are the only person who can give access rights to anybody. It's because of the encryption and fragmentation. And because of the replication, your data is really secured because we keep multiple copies of your data across many locations. So in one solution itself, you get the security, privacy, everything is built into the same system. So that's in short what we do.
Awesome. So you'd say that that security, that privacy are some core functionalities of the function of StorX as a decentralized cloud storage network, right? Those are the main things.
That's that. Those are main core pillars of a service, and that's the core promise that we give to the user. Whenever you're using StorX for storing any of your data will never be snooped in. Your data will never be censored. Nobody will can hack into your system. And anybody can, if anybody is able to hack into the system, the whole fragment that he gets access to is rendered useless because it's just a small fragment of data which doesn't make any sense. If he wants to access the complete data, he would hack into numerous of servers which are spread worldwide, and it becomes really very difficult, if not impossible.
I want to dive a bit more into some of the features and I guess benefits of using StorX versus using maybe something else that might be comparable to it. Obviously, we talked about in security, there's encryption, there's cost effectiveness, protection from things like ransomware, being a green focused initiative. What are some of those benefits for users when they use StorX that they can expect?
So first and the very foremost thing that we give the users is the security and the privacy. So anybody who is using the data, is using storing the data on StorX, this data is really very secure. That's because of the encryption that we enable to it. And the users only have the right to open the data. So because the encryption is done in users system itself, and only the encrypted data is then transferred to the platform. And once it's transferred to the platform, because of the encryption, what happens is nobody can access the data. That's first thing, and then it's broken down into small fragments, replicated, and then distributed. So this is a unique way in which users are ensured about very high level of security and privacy of the data. And because the architecture in which the data is stored actually all across the data, all across the network, we can provide users a very high level of resiliency and privacy. In the meanwhile, what happens is, since we are using already available storage resources, we are not building any new storage resources. As you are aware, the cloud or the data centers are the maximum consumers of electricity worldwide, and there's a lot of wastage. You can if you see the wastage in internet data center, that is caused because not much of them are used up to their full optimum level. So what happens is, since we are already using the capacity, storage capacity, which is already available in the network, we are able to save a lot of carbon, and we are able to say a lot of green footprint because of that. So the not only users getting a very safe and secure way to store his data, but he's also ensuring that he's taking care of the earth. He's not wasting the resources which is there on the earth.
Excellent. Those are some wonderful benefits. Do you guys have any real world applications in terms of how StorX is being utilized today? Any examples you can give to kind of paint a picture?
Yes. So I can share you two great examples that we currently have, and we're working with the clients that are already live. One is a very big IoT provider based out of Canada. So what we do is, basically, he did not want to. He's working with a lot of universities, a lot of multinational companies, a lot of clients who have very critical data from their IoT devices being sent and forth. So there's a lot of transfer of data that is happening from these IoT devices, and we serve as the primary storage function for them. So when they were evaluating and designing the whole infrastructure, they realized that this amount of egress cost, that's the storage plus the bandwidth cost, that's going to happen because so much of data is being flowing to and fro from this location to that, and they need to access the data, they need to analyze the data. The egress cost, which is like a major cost for any cloud storage provider, would be very high. And because of that, what happens is, they were not able to offer the services at the real cost benefit, because the cloud eats into a lot of profits for them. So that's where we came in. So they were ready to experiment, and we experimented with them very well, and we were able to bring down the egress cost more than 60%. So because of what happens is, because of the 60% reduction in the cost, they're able to offer the services a very cheap rate. They're able to onboard the services, onboard the guys, offer them real well services, and the cost is really very low. So that's a very typical examples how we can help any traditional storage providers, any companies who are looking to store huge amount of data with a huge egress cost. They can save 60 to 70% in the egress cost itself. So that works out a very huge benefit for them. The second one is we are working with a healthcare provider. So what happens is healthcare provider has very critical information. The information is subject to a lot of regulations, HIPAA, SOC 2, and all those things. So what happens is we have created a local cloud for him, which is based out of India. What happens is this cloud is specifically designed for them. The data is not shared with any third parties, and they are storing this data across multiple locations. Now, because of this, what happens is because of the secure layer of storage that is being provided, users can really store their data with much more confidence. They are aware that their health records would not be shared with anyone. And it's an exclusive network. That means no public or no third party can ever have access to it. Plus, they are using this StorX technology. So we are able to offer them all the benefit of encryption, privacy, fragmentation, global residency at the same time, a very low cost to access the data. So these are two very major service providers which we have to spoken to and we have onboarded on our platform, and that's really a very good example for the others to look in and use StorX.
I want to also ask about integrations. I imagine there's some that are probably pretty popular that that you could highlight, and I imagine this can be pretty expansive. But like for example, I could see storage plugging in very well to AWS, Google Workspace, maybe even Kubernetes. What can you talk about in terms of like ways that you can integrate StorX into other existing services or ways to expand upon different processes or services with other companies or different workflows?
Yeah, that's also a very great question. So from the very start, we have tried to focus on a very niche segment. One is backup. So that's also been a very core area where we have been focusing with. So in backup area itself, what we've done is we have more than 40 integrations that we've already done. We have integrations with Duplicate, we have integrations with Rustic, we have Duplicate with Rclone, S3 backup, a whole lot of softwares which we are already integrated with. We can really work with these softwares and create a very unique way, a value proposition where you can save your data very securely. You can create a dump of your data. You can do regular backups automatically. So we work in tandem and in partnership with all these softwares and ensure that the data is very secure and very private. So our team has been, we have a dedicated team which looks just into integrations. We're very happy to say that we have been integrating almost like one or two softwares every week. So we have a whole long range of backups that is there, whole launch of softwares which can really plug in with StorX very well and works with in tandem to get you very good results. So what happens is because of using those combination of StorX plus all the softwares, we were able to offer a real value to the users. So users can now automatically back up all their softwares. They can back up their laptop, they can back up their servers, they can back up their Google Drive, they can back up their AWS sort of thing. So whole lot of things and a lot of value. And the primary way we can offer value is most of the customers who are using this are storing their backups in local backups, which is prone to a lot of issues like breaking down, having physical problems, getting deletion. And once you keep an additional copy of data in a cloud like storage, you really don't have to worry about it. Your data is really very secure. You have it's distributed, it's encrypted, so you can go and access your data at any point of time without any issues. So that's the major value add that I see, and this has been a real adoption curve from you for us, and we've seen a lot of guys who are using it regularly to use backing up the data.
Another thing that I think will be very interested for users of StorX revolves cost. I'm curious what the cost is associated with using StorX in the StorX network. And then does that differ as well between individual users versus maybe a business or institutional user, maybe that's using this at a much larger scale? How do those kind of shake up in terms of the price modeling?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. So what we understand now is decentralized cloud is a very new concept. People are really when they talk about the data, they're very like very afraid to try out a new solution provider. They have a lot of thoughts that should they try out the users or not. So what we've done is we've introduced a 2 GB package, which is free for users. So users can just sign up and use up to 2 GB of package, and they can see if they're really value add that we are really making. 2 GB, they'll be able to use all the services, all the features There's nothing like it's a free account, so you won't be able to integrate it with any third party software. You cannot use it with backups. So we have integrated with all the softwares. We've integrated with all the backups. You can use this 2 GB package and feel how wonderful the job is doing. And if they're really satisfied, we have packages starting from $10 a month, but we are open to working out with the customers on case to case basis. We have very unique integrations that we can talk to about users. And right now, all our customers are basically trying it out in one way or the other. They're experimenting. They're trying to see how is the value that is being offered by decentralized cloud. So storage, as I told you in the first use case, where the IoT guy was able to cut almost 60% to 70% of his egress cost. So those kind of use cases are, we are talking to customers and we are giving them the knowledge about this, and they are really keen to try it out, and they're excited to see how they're being value add being offered and what is the cost being saying. On a very very novice idea, what I can say is it's about at least 50% saving from the existing cloud service providers in terms of egress, in terms of storage. So what we can do is we can really help them out. We can design a flow for them, which can help them to at least save 50 to 50% cost minimum than the other service providers and long term.
Quick message from Galileo FX, the world's top trading bot. Galileo uses advanced algorithms, customizable strategies to enhance efficiency, reduce errors, and operate 24/7, which is pretty incredible, providing a more significant advantage over traditional manual trading, which is much more of a hassle and harder to do. So go to GalileoFX.com to learn how you can start automating all of your trades today. Back to the episode. Interesting. Now that's a big benefit to be able to save almost up to 50% of the cost, because I know that storage can get expensive. I use a lot of storage, especially in the cloud. So it makes a big difference when you have a lot of files, a lot of backup, a lot going into, data that you need.
Yeah, and backup is the main use case that we've been looking. People are just using the backup and they're storing the data and not accessing it. And what happens is, because of the security parameters that we have been offered, you don't have to worry about tools and infections like ransomware virus. Because of the this whole idea about how the data is being fragmented and encrypted, you can be ensured that the data can never be infected with a ransomware virus. Because what happens is we encrypt, we are already encrypting it and placing it across multiple locations, that to multiple copies of it. So the system will ensure that you always have the access to the data at the right point of time.
So here's the big question of the discussion. It's called the why. There's obviously a lot of availability in the market among other players like Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, etc. When it comes to storage, cloud backups, why do individuals and businesses need StorX in particular? How would you say is StorX separating itself the most in terms of what it's going to give back to a user or to a business? Is that do you feel that that is in the encryption and the security and the privacy? Do you feel that's in the cost? Is it a combination of all these things put together? What makes it better than some of these other competitors in the market that have been here for a little while?
That this is the question that I keep getting asked again and again in all the podcasts, and I'm very happy to reply it. And what happens is, basically, as I said, the architecture is something that is totally different from the way how you're storing your data in everybody. So now you can today there's so much of development, there's so much of options available. People can also get services of backup free of charge. They need not pay itself. But the only way is, traditionally, if you look at all the service providers, they're going with the same way in how the data is stored. Data is just stored as a single file in a single location. If they say that they are encrypted the data and storing the encrypted data, still it's not secured, because these are the guys, the service provider would be controlling the keys of your encryption. So that means at any point of time, your service provider can just log in and look into your data. So that is something, if you're comfortable with, then you have a lot of options where you can go and really store in your data. But if you feel that your data is really great, very critical, and you're really worried that you don't want a service provider who can just go and log in and see in your data, or you don't want your any of the virus encryption getting infecting your data, you don't want ransomware to be infected your data, then you can look at StorX as a viable option. And it's just not backup and just not storage. It's backup plus security plus privacy. That is whole range of solution that is built up into one services. So what happens is, whenever there is a very old technique of 3 to 1 backup where you need to keep 3 copies, two different location, 1 copy. So we are actually that built into one service. So we bundling out. What we're doing is we're storing your data across multiple location. We're storing it with a highest level of encryption. We're storing it a privacy guarantee that nobody can see. So that's all services built into one service, and you can just use it and to actually you can experience it, and then you feel how it is being used.
Have you guys been able to ink any key partnerships with any larger companies or institutions or anyone that, I think might want to use this at a grander scale? I can see a lot of them wanting to use it for certain types of IP protection. A lot of companies have a lot of sensitive information and data. There's been a lot of issues with other storage providers and cloud backups in the past, and I imagine a lot of them would be open to new solutions like StorX. Curious if you've been able to kind of work on some partnerships there, or any others that might be, potentially interested in using you guys as a backend.
We're just signing it up and using it. We are working with certain key providers whom we are doing some kind of integrations, showing them. So what we feel is we are in the stage where we are making people aware of the benefits of StorX. We are making them aware of how they can use it, how they can implement it in the business, and they're still keen on trying it out. If you look at the cloud, it took almost a decade for them, for all the banks to realize that how was the value being added, and then they started moving to public data. Because even if you look at the big banks, financial institution, they were really very worried to move the data to a public cloud, right? That the transition took a whole lot of time for them to understand. So we are facing the same kind of scenario right now where we are educating people at what are the benefits and why they need to have a new service provider, or they need to think beyond just a traditional cloud for storing of the data. And we feel that this will be taking a little more time, but once these people are aware of the benefits that they offer and the security that is provided with this, they'll be really very happy to adopt it. And I see that happening not later, but it should happen very soon. So it will not take, the adoption curve will not take the time like public cloud took, but it would happen very fast because we already have individuals who are signing it up, storing their data, exploring how they can do it. And we feel the corporates too would have to sign. As I told you, we already have these two clients who are using it in a very well way. They're already happy with the kind of security they're getting. They're very happy with the cost savings that they're making. We feel the same way. There's much more it's being offered to all the other clients, and we see this coming very soon.
Okay. Another interesting question that kind of comes out of this, in terms of this like educational phase that you guys are in, trying to teach other companies how to use it and what the benefits are and how to integrate it and switch over and systems and whatnot. Are you guys doing that in private meetups and discussions? Are you doing that in open forum engagements, going to events and conferences, or what does that kind of look like? Are you holding workshops and doing panels, or like what when you say education, what does that kind of encompass for you guys?
So right now, from last year when we launched our mainnet, we've been focused only on giving education. We have been attending all the key events. We have been part of CloudFest. We have been part of We Are Developers. We were part of Consensus. So what we're doing is we keenly participating on all the big events and industry events which are there. We hold booths, we hold private talks, we hold discussion forums, and we're also doing a lot of educated content online. So what the whole idea is, as I told you, educating people about what is the thing that decentralized cloud is offering, what is the value that they will get, and how they can try it out. And because I feel this would be still be continuing 2025, I will be talking to a lot of people. We're talking to a lot of KOLs who would be doing this kind of educational videos for people around the world to make them aware of the benefits that's being offered because of the decentralized cloud. So we are big believers of this decentralization journey that is happening, power to all the individual users, where the power lies with individual users. There, it's not with certain companies. It's not with certain big companies, and you feel, and then you give the data because you trust them. So now the whole world is moving toward decentralization, where the system or the architecture is such that you don't have to worry about. You don't need a third party to assure that the data would not be shared, just like in the peer-to-peer storage that we're providing. So because of the unique architecture and the algorithm that we follow, It's going to ensure that the data is really safe and you don't have to worry about it.
So, what's on the horizon for you guys later this year? Does StorX have any upcoming announcements or milestones that users should be aware of? What are some things in your guys' plans going into the rest of this year's timeline?
So this year we're going to have a lot of developments that is happening. We keep updating our products a lot. So we we keep on coming with new enhancement. We keep on coming with new releases every quarter. The end of Q1 is going to be really very exciting. We were having some kind of security and mechanism to secure the data. We launched it last year and then we went out to a whole lot of people. We took feedback and they gave certain feedback. We're going to make a little twist in how they're going to access it. We're going to make it much more secure. Like we're going to set up private keys encryption where the data is really only be opened by your private key. So that are kind of developments that are going to happen. We would be showcasing is to much more wider audience. We would be uh, as the roadmap goes in, we would have some key integrations and key partnerships announced very soon. So we feel that the end of Q1 and start of Q2 would be very exciting for us.
Awesome. Where can people go if they want to learn a bit more about StorX and get some more information about how it works, how to use it, and what some of those additional benefits are that we've talked about throughout the episode?
Users can go to storx.tech. It's storx.tech. That's our corporate website. People can go and register it. Of course, as I told you, the 2 GB package is free for all. You can go and register online and use it and see the benefit coming in. We have a whole lot of study material. We have integration materials. Then we have Medium articles which are published on our blogs regularly. We come up with integrations every time. So there's a lot of news. They can subscribe to our social channel, social media channels like Twitter. We keep on coming with latest updates, and we keep on coming podcasts like this and trying to educate people about how they can really use StorX and make and derive benefit out of it.
Very nice. Is the blog on the website, or do you have like a Medium page or anything
Yes,
like
so we
that?
have a Medium page, and the link is also there on the website. And we're there, very active on Twitter. We're there on Discord and all the other social media channels.
We'll put all the links for that stuff in the description for the episode below so people can find it very easily when listening and watching to this. But Murphy, thank you very much for taking the time today. This has been a really good episode. Learned a lot about what you guys are doing in terms of decentralized storage with StorX. I think you guys have something really cool as well. So keep me updated on how things are going later this year and how you guys continue to develop out and if anything new comes of it, any new partnerships, any new cool use cases, anyone that's ends up using it in a fun way as well. Maybe we can jump on for another episode later on.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be really amazing. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Keep sharing
Likewise.
the developments on all the social media and with you as well.
Sounds great, man. Keep in touch in the meantime and take care. We'll talk soon.